I saw you were doing a little complaining this morning, Carlo. And
he's a morning radio guy. Of course he's complaining.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? You're up early. Maybe you're a little squirrely, but I saw complaining today on Twitter, Carlo, because Radko Gudas, and listen, the interview was done in his native language in Czechia, so there can always be a little that gets lost in translation. But he essentially said that he had talks with the Toronto Maple Leafs and, just talked about how the media pressure was one of the reasons why he didn't want to play here and didn't want to sign with this team. Now, he signs with the Anaheim Ducks. He gets $4 million a year. Like that's a very good deal. That's probably a little bit above market value for Radko Gudas and what he is as a player, and he's going to be in Southern California. But what'd you make of those comments from Radko Gudas about the media pressure here in Toronto?
Do you guys just get the feeling that everybody around the NHL loves to take shots at the Maple Leafs? And they just like striking nerves into Maple Leaf fans because the outrage, it's fake outrage from Maple Leaf fans on social media.
Fake outrage from Leafs fans? Come on, Carlo.
Responding to this saying, oh, we didn't want him anyways. Go play in Anaheim. Good luck winning next year. It's like we here, us in the media, we ask for players to be more honest about things. We get a guy being honest about what he wanted to do and how he criticized him. Same thing with Ryan O'Reilly when he came out and explained, why he chose to play in Nashville versus Toronto. Look, people just choose a way of life, and that's what free agency offers you. Look, Toronto's not made for everybody. If you're going to get paid a certain amount of money to play in a different place where you don't have to deal with the same things that you have or different things that you have to deal with playing in Toronto, why wouldn't you choose it? I don't necessarily think of it as a bad thing for the guy. I don't buy into this whole theory it's tough to play in Toronto because the media is hard. Look, at the end of the day, what's hard about dealing with the media? You answer questions. What's hard about that? And at the end of the day, you're being held accountable for your play. Some guys like it, some guys don't. Obviously, Radko Gudas chose differently. Look, I never played with Radko, but I played on the same team as him, and he was hurt for most of the year when I played with him in Philly. He's an unbelievable guy. He's a guy you definitely want on your team because, obviously, we saw how he helped Florida. And maybe the run that he had with Florida last year, he's kind of thinking to himself, I don't know, man, I kind of want to just play regular season hockey and not play deep into June. And obviously, I'm joking when I say that, but look, the guy chose Anaheim over to Toronto. I don't blame him that for one bit.
I guess to follow up to this, at what point does it sort of just become a narrative now? And it's almost like an easy cop-out answer for somebody to say, oh, I don't want to play in Toronto because of the media pressure. Like, at what point is it not even factual anymore? It's just like, oh, I've heard this, and this is what I'm just going to go with.
Yeah, I don't even look at it as a cop-out anymore because realistically, in today's world, every time you do something, somebody wants to ask you a question about it. And I said it before, and I'm going to reiterate it again. We ask for players to give us their honest opinion. And then when they give us their honest opinion, we criticize them for it. People want to criticize them for it. Look, the thing about Toronto is that prior to them winning a playoff round this year and getting everybody's hopes up that maybe this was the year because they caught Florida in the second round, the Maple Leafs have been a team that have been easy to poke fun at. Let's be honest, because of the struggles that they've gone through. And then it's pretty safe to say that they get a lot of attention compared to what other teams in the league and other players get. But there's a good way to get attention. There's a bad way to get attention. And I'm going to use this as an example. I'm not necessarily highlighting him as the guy. But if Luke Shen didn't get traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs and have the impact that he had in the playoffs that he did, would he be staring at a 3-year contract right now in Nashville? Right? So there's a positive way to get attention in this market, and obviously there's a negative way that players look at attention in this market. And the negative way is they don't want to deal with all the criticism that comes with it. At the end of the day, if I was growing up and I was playing in this stage in hockey, and you guys can comment on this too because you no longer play. Actually, I don't know how the comeback's coming, Peter, if you're still on that path. But
we don't have enough time in the show to dive into that.
But let's be honest. If you're a guy that loves to compete and you want to play on a winning team and you want to play in a market that cares. I don't see why people look at Toronto and say, I don't want to play there because of that. When you talk about Major League Baseball players, do players say they don't want to play in New York, or does everybody say they want to play for the Yankees? Or does everybody say they want to play for the Dodgers? It seems like every time there's a big name out there on the market, it's the Yankees and the Dodgers that are linked. How are those markets in that sport any different than the Maple Leafs are?
Good point.